What's up, guys, and welcome back to the grand finals of the Douyu Cup presented here on HeflaTV 1 with a little bit of help from esportgaming.com. Not too sure if it's too late to play some bets, but, well, Tong Fu, if you want safe money, seems like they're the ones to bet on, as they did roll through Newbee.Y in Game 1. Not a flawless performance, but a convincing one nonetheless. I'm Mikelorus, going to be joined by GrandisV for this second game, potentially last game. Do you think Newbee.Y can pull it together? Do you think they could bring this to a Game 3?
It's really going to depend on if they can do well in their lanes. I want to say Tong Fu from the gate looked really strong, and especially the anti-mage just got completely out of control. Even though at times he wasn't able to contribute maybe as much as the team would have liked, he got so much farm. At the end of the game, ending with 914 GPM. That's just gross. And Newbee.Y just didn't have tools in their disposal to combat that. But they're going to start with the same opener that Tong Fu had in the first game with a Tusk Rubik. And I think that does work quite well against Clockwork Queen of Pain coming out from Tong Fu.
Yeah, first of all, Rubik versus Clockwork, advantageous for the side with the Rubik. Just getting able to kind of pseudo-ignore those cogs. Can't completely ignore them, obviously, but it certainly does help, and having an instant point cleave disable versus the Queen of Pain is certainly very nice as well. That being said, Tong Fu do have a Clockwork and a Queen of Pain, so they'll be able to jump in with quite a few heroes. I would assume, someone else on their side is going to be able to grab a Blink Dagger or a Force Staff, or will just have natural mobility. So initiation looking like it's going to be on Tong Fu's side at the moment. Also, Zex Bingo's Clockwork is freaking insane, man. Like, that guy doesn't mess around, so they are very comfortable running this type of draft.
Yeah, Newbee.Y have heroes that are good defensively against those type of initiations. He's already mentioned that Rubik somewhat countering the Clockwork to be able to disrupt that initiation, but it is very scary. If Tong Fu get ahead, which, if history is any indicator, they probably will in this series, they're going to have so many ways to apply pressure, even if it's not directly, just psychologically. If you don't see the Clockwork and Queen of Pain 100% of the time, that's just impossible. You're going to think twice about pushing out your lanes and trying to get a little bit of extra farm. And just with that map control, Tong Fu might be able to take quite a significant advantage. Let's see, what are the hot picks coming into the second stage? Why would you see Shadow Fiend and Earthshaker banned out?
The Bounty Hunter got banned out first, so unfortunately Tong Fu would have loved to have that hero just fit right into their draft, but there's still quite a few more powerful heroes. Storm Spirit, namely, should be in consideration, although it's going to be an Io instead to be banned out. If there is a low CC situation, then Tong Fu have run plenty of Ember Spirits in the past, and Newbee.Y have an okay answer right now in the Rubik, although Tong Fu may want to grab that one a little bit later as they grab a Lion for themselves. It does kind of seem like they're setting up for an Ember Spirit pick by at least removing from the available pool from Newbee the heroes that are really good up against Ember.
And also, in a different fashion, they're also making Storm Spirit and a lot of those very mobile initiators that can get on top of the Ember Spirit and lock him down instantly with something like an Orchid or just the equivalent spell, a lot less attractive. For Newbee.Y, they're going to pick up a TA, a reasonable hero for them to snag, but unless they get Roshans, unless they do well in these lanes, things could get pretty awkward for the Templar Assassin. Mid lane matchup against the Queen of Pain is pretty much even. Neither of those heroes can get a significant edge. Neither of them can kill each other, and although Queen of Pain will run with the ranged advantage, as long as Templar Assassin is pooled a Sentry, I don't think that lane is really all that interesting unless we have support rotations, which we very well might.
Yeah, Meld is just an all-star versus Queen of Pain. You can't dodge that Shadow Strike early on, and then the Queen of Pain is in an awkward situation there, and then later down the line, Refraction versus Sonic Wave versus Queen of Pain, it gets better for Templar Assassin as the lane progresses, but Tong Fu already with a Lion might not let this Templar Assassin just sit in that mid lane. Queen of Pain, even though, yeah, she is going to have a rough time versus the Meld, versus the Refraction, she gets a little bit of help from a Disable, then Templar Assassin may very quickly lose her charges, and then killing her is going to be a cakewalk. Tong Fu don't really have great ways of dealing with the Templar Assassin shield just yet, although it's not too late to grab some. As far as supports are concerned that actually do that, probably Jakiro is the best one, unless they want to go deep into a Venomancer, which, possible, not probable. Tong Fu most likely just have to accept that Templar Assassin shield is going to be a nuisance.
Yeah, I don't think they really have to commit that deeply into the pool to counter the Refraction, especially if they're considering picking up the Ember Spirit. But instead, they're going to go for the Phoenix again. Game 1 was a pleasure to watch coming out from LPC's Phoenix. It's not something you see very often going for that Sunray level 1, but in those early skirmishes, it worked so very well. And this time, it will be partnered with a Lion, offering a little bit more raw disable than the Rubik of Game 1.
Yeah, so Hex Spike into a Sunray and or Fire Spirits. It's, again, a little bit more of an awkward combo, but it gets the job done if you're up against these softer heroes. Newbee.Y, Templar Assassin, Rubik, definitely heroes that I would consider more on the soft side. And well, they do have the Tusk to potentially snowball back someone out. It's going to be a lot of damage potentially towards the Newbee.Y side as they do grab a Bloodseeker now. The Tong Fu side similarly are pretty soft as well, but yeah, Bloodseeker is going to be Bloodseeker, and if he could land a Bloodright, then Tong Fu are going to be completely screwed.
On the flip side of the coin, if Bloodseeker doesn't get the appropriate disables on like the Lion and the Queen of Pain, they can very easily burst down the Bloodseeker before he's able to be relevant inside these fights. Although BKB is going to somewhat help that against the Lion, it's not the easiest game for Bloodseeker. Not to say he's not a good hero, he is, and should work decently well for Newbee.Y, but I think that Tong Fu are reasonably equipped to deal with a Bloodseeker.
If they just get armor as well, they'll be pretty well equipped up against the entirety of Newbee.Y. They almost have no magic damage at all. They have like Tusk, Rubik, and that's very low amounts of magic damage. A Bloodright, that's nothing at all. So if Tong Fu do get armor, or if they do get, what is it called, Ghost Scepter, then it'll be really difficult for Newbee.Y to actually get these kills. Any hero with just a naturally high armor pool is going to be super resistant to what Newbee.Y have at the moment. Ember Spirit looking a lot worse because of that, but I'll just pick any other given carry hero. It's not going to be Phantom Lancer, as it is banned out. Winter Wyvern similarly banned out on the Tong Fu side, but it's going to be a Slark instead. Slark up against these kind of low-range heroes does do decently, but for Newbee.Y, they grab Alina. Newbee.Y, they actually finished their drafts, I think, now ending up a little bit in a better position than Tong Fu's draft.
Yeah, as far as individual play is concerned, I think you can expect Tong Fu to be a little bit higher up the rung there, especially since they're on a lot of comfort heroes. U9 on his Queen of Pain, Zixbingo on the Clockwork, and even Zincu on the Slark. He doesn't play it that often anymore, but it is a hero that they fall back on every once in a while. So, I don't know, things could get very interesting this game. I'm tempted to say that Newbee.Y have an easier to execute lineup, and probably a little bit better too.
Did we say that last time as well, though? I think we did.
I'm pretty sure we did.
Well, who knows? Anything could happen. Picking Slark into a Bloodseeker and now into Alina certainly can get risky for Tong Fu, but the upside of Slark is that you get on top of the Templar Assassin, you instantly get rid of her refraction charges with the Pact, and even like if you get into a slugfest with the Bloodseeker, then Bloodseeker most likely isn't going to be winning that, simply because you have Essence Shift and the Bloodseeker does not. So yeah, the Slark is going to have to very carefully pick his battles, but it seems like he may have situations where he's able to do that. Guys, this is game 2, potentially the last game of the Douyu Cup if Tong Fu are able to claim a victory. Right now, they're going to put Xinkyu on the Slark. They'll put U9 in the mid lane as the Queen of Pain. LPC is playing the Phoenix with Kabu on the Lion. They're going to be joining Zixbingo on the Clockwork.
And for Newbee.Y, currently on the ropes, if they lose this series, they're out. They'll still be in second place. They won't be disappointed with it, but they'd much rather stay and take this to a game number 3. It's going to be Mer playing on the Rubik down bottom lane, Piao on the Lina, Melody Lovers on the Tusk, SEC on the Templar Assassin, and last but not least, Bloodseeker by Iwi going to the safe lane. A little bit of a role adjustment actually coming out from Newbee.Y. That's very interesting, at least for me to see.
Well, they're going to smoke up right now and look for someone. The hero that they could possibly find is going to be the Clockwork, and with the Rubik, they do stand a chance at killing him, but he's going to just go ahead and block his creep wave, so it looks like that's not going to result into much this smoke. Are there observers or sentries here so that they could block camps? They have one observer placed, so it's going to be one blocked camp, but this Clockwork seems like he's going to be here all alone. The fact that these camps are blocked is going to be almost completely irrelevant because no one's going to be looking to pull or stack those camps either way. So it's potentially going to be just a little bit of wasted cash here from Newbee.Y to start things off. Both sides going to grab their bounty runes in a fairly even split, but now we have a situation where Tong Fu putting the Clockwork on the bottom lane means that they're going to put 3 heroes up towards top. And hell, just even Slark versus Bloodseeker is a good matchup for the Slark, but add a Lion on top of that and things get messy real quick.
Yeah, looks like Tong Fu have a good read on these lanes in general. The Queen of Pain versus Templar Assassin, we talked about it during the draft, and I don't think anything's going to change with this matchup, especially since bottom lane, the Rubik should be sitting down here to help the Lina out. If either of these heroes gets isolated by Zixbingo, the Clockwork, once he gets appropriate levels into Battery Assault, or even just higher levels in general, even if he does go for Rocket Flare build, might be able to kill off even the farming Lina.
Again, guys, this stream is being supported by esportgaming.com, so be sure to check them out, show them some love. But we have to wait until later to do that because they caught 2 in the cogs down towards bottom. X-Bingo taking a lot of damage. The Fire Spirits are keeping the right-click damage at minimum right now for LPC. It'll force both these 2 heroes, Newbee.Y to fall back. We're also having an Immortal giveaway after this series is completed, guys, so don't leave immediately thereafter. There is potential for loot, and potential for loot is always nice. But back into this game, we have a situation in the mid lane where, obviously, Templar Assassin with Queen of Pain, we already went over it, but they both have sentry wards, and I think that's the more interesting thing. The fact that whoever places their sentry first is probably going to lose it. So it's like a game of sentry ward chicken.
Yeah, especially if the Templar Assassin places it, since she doesn't have a tango cooldown. But bottom lane, again, pretty aggressive down here. X-Bingo will drop to cogs and will bounce back the lane, and he'll take a lot of damage, but it looks like he's going to end up surviving, although not comfortably. He only has 1 tango left.
And up towards top, because he has that passive, he's going to get a lot of extra damage, putting it towards CQ right now, but 7 tangos left on this Slark with a salve as well. If they do get into slugfest fights, then CQ, yeah, he doesn't have the lifesteal that Douyu has, but he does have the ability to just out-regenerate, and this should be enough regeneration, even with the dual lane, to carry him until level 6. At that point, his regeneration is going to be completely free, and he seems very confident in the fact that he knows that if he gets into a slugfest, he will win. He's going to go once again into this Bloodseeker. Kabu right around the corner, but Melody Lovers is pretty imposing right now, just being a hero with a lot of HP, a good amount of armor, good amount of damage, making things difficult for Kabu to get in to this fight with.
For LPC is going to attempt to deward the pole camp. That's not going to succeed. The sentries inside the trees with no way for the Phoenix to kill that unless he uses an Icarus dive. And the Observer Ward in the pole through camp isn't there, but up in top lane, Snowball in, they'll be both caught out by the Earth Spike, but Kabu's still in a corner and will drop to Iway as he draws first blood. Zinkyu's still manning up, and the Bloodseeker's losing a lot of his stats. Zinkyu looks like he'll secure this kill and gets the heal from it, and with it, he might be able to go for Melody Lovers with the pounds connecting. Melody Lovers has no hope. He doesn't have a snowball for 4 seconds, and Zinkyu gets the double. Even though Newbee.Y get first blood, the Slark getting a double kill is huge.
Oh yeah, it's so much better for Tong Fu to get the double kill. Losing Kabu is unfortunate and everything, but the fact that Slark collects so huge off of that, can give him a straight 800 gold, and Douyu wants to fight again. This just did not work for him, and now he's going to get pounced, packed it again. If he dies here, oh my god, that'll be terrible, and he will! Essentially a triple kill for CQ up towards top. Now for Newbee, they just can't go here, and over towards mid lane, U9 going deep onto the Templar Assassin, has been leading this lane super comfortably, a lot more than the Queen of Pain should, is tripling up the Templar Assassin CS, now gets a solo kill. The early stage was rough for Newbee last game. It's going to be even rougher this time, it seems.
Yeah, this is hard. Even with the Sentry Ward mid-place by Templar Assassin sticking, she's just putting the screws to them. The good news for them is bottom lane's going alright. X-Bingo's caught out inside the cogs with Piao, with the right-click damage, even through Fire Spirits. They'll secure a kill, and the Lena's doing alright for herself, even though the other lanes are struggling.
Yeah, but Alina doing well, it has to... you have to get a lot extra after Alina doing well in lane if you actually want to hold the game down in its entirety, because yeah, the Clockwork's level 2, same as the Phoenix, and Lena's level 4, so she's doing very well, but if she only does well in this lane, then all the other lanes are going to start to suffer, and Lena has to at some point make rotations, and also not get caught. LSA is going to whiff, Battery Assault not available, he's looking for some cogs, Piao's trying to stick with his creep wave, and it looks like they will give up that chase. But Lena going to survive, get a little bit of backup from Melody Lovers, actually, as well as the Rubik. They're going all in on this bottom lane, Newbee, and it's not exactly the play that they want to make. It's a play that they have to make simply because top is a death trap at this point.
OPC's isolated inside the shards, but it's a Phoenix. If worse comes to worse, he can always dive out of there. Clockwork going to be pulled back in with Snowball to fall up. X-Bingo will fall, and again, Newbee.Y are doing quite well in the bottom lane, but even though the Clockwork's died a couple of times, Clockwork as a hero doesn't really need that much farm to be relevant. As long as he finds his level 6, that's all a Clockwork really needs.
And now mid SC, getting caught on the low ground, blown up after the Hex Spike from the Lion, and Queen of Pain has a Sonic Wave, of course, now level 7. And the Templar Assassin simply did not see that one coming. Kabu came in at nighttime with the high ground advantage, and well, Templar Assassin just already not having a great time. Will continue not having a great time. So it's one lane being won. Oh no, up towards top, Xinkyu going again towards Douyu. Is there another pounce? Is there another pact? I don't think it's going to be in range. The Bloodseeker should slip away. He has one tango, however, so he won't really be able to stick around here forever, especially since Kabu is ready to intercept should Douyu retreat. Now spotted by the Observer Ward. I don't think the Lion can actually intercept. This Bloodseeker's a little bit too quick, but yeah, this bottom lane is Newbee's saving grace at the moment, and they might even get another kill opportunity. No, LPC is going to stay hidden in the trees. But Lena's actually leading the last hit chart, but shouldn't be leading the net worth chart. No, Queen of Pain and Slark handily leading her there.
Yeah, that's the difference when you get 2 kills on the Queen of Pain and 3 on the Slark. Even though in the game, Bloodseeker does very well against the Slark, being able to see him through Thirst, and Slark generally wants to be pretty low in the duration of the fights. In the lane, the Slark is doing so very well, and they're going to isolate IOE again. The Pounce connects, and that's a death sentence. There's nothing IOE can do.
It's going to be Clockwork to grab the kill. However, Queen of Pain looks like she walked into a lift from the Rubik into a combo from the Lina. Now she has her Laguna Blade up. It's nice and everything for Tong Fu to get the kill on that Bloodseeker, especially giving the gold to the Clockwork, who has since been struggling, but losing a Queen of Pain like that, again to this combo down towards bottom lane, is costing Tong Fu a lot. That's 500 gold for the Lina and Rubik to split, and it's yeah, going to be a priority for Tong Fu to keep this Queen of Pain safe, keep their Slark safe, because they are doing so well. Phoenix, he has no Fire Spirits, he has an Icarus die, will be forced to use it, carve a giant swath in those trees, but 6-4 right now, Newbee, perhaps starting to recover if they actually get a couple more kills with this Lina.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on the Lina right now to perform, and for now she's doing quite well, but inside the Dire Woods, maybe a scuffle is going to form. The Clockwork was on the high ground, but I don't think he was spotted, and oh, Lion. Well, the Clockwork definitely wasn't spotted. Melody Lovers is going to be Earth spiked up, but Kabu has no real hope. The silence even procs. He gets cogged in by the Clockwork. They'll eat through the other side. Now Queen of Pain joins the fray. Kabu's still alive, although only just will pop his stick, dies to the neutral creeps. And with that, Tong Fu are in a pretty good situation to fight. They have a double damage run on U9 with the Sonic Wave available. And Templar Assassin's defensive charges are all but gone. They'll be eaten through. But that's going to be the end trade, and since the line gets denied, that's good for Tong Fu.
I like the play from U9, not going deep onto the Templar Assassin, who, yeah, she probably could have killed the Queen of Pain, probably could have killed the TA, but blinking into a high ground situation, blind, is not really what you want to be doing. Those Cogs, man, Cogs defensively, like, sometimes we see it, but not to that degree. They completely locked everyone out from that Lion, and though he did die in the end, it was after having seen a kill, so he gets the experience, and dying to the neutrals means that Newbee get absolutely nothing from it. So, well played by X Bingo, and I clearly did not sell him short in his Clockwork play. Like, even after having such a rough lane, because any hero versus the Rubik Lina combo is going to have a rough time, is still making quite a bit happen in this game, and now he's going to look for a little bit more Melody Lovers. He's going to be spotted right now. He has a snowball, and it seems like Tong Fu think this is a little bit too deep. Shards will connect on Tong Fu, however, will not trap him. Everyone will back off safe and sound.
Yeah, Slark's still getting a lot of farm. The Slark's currently flying out just a magic wand for himself, but he's on 1,400 gold on top of all of that. Do you think this is a Blink or a Shadowblade game for him?
It seems like there's no significant difference in this particular game. Blink might be a little bit more preferable, simply being up against a Bloodseeker, a hero that can track. So, yeah, just a Blink to maybe get in there, get out. There are still soft heroes on Newbee.Y's side, so as long as he can get in, I honestly don't think it matters too much.
Fair enough. Up in top lane, they're going to catch eyes onto the Tusk. Around the corner, Melody Lovers is under his tier 2 tower, and the Pounce is going to get Slark over the trees, but not going to connect. Probably a little too deep to dive, even if it did. They still want to go for this, it seems. Slark is going to farm very aggressively against the enemy team, but he has backup. The Phoenix and Lion are down from the south.
And though the Dire have a whole bunch of sentries in their woods, they have no observers. Melody Lover's gonna get hexed up. Silent Circle is there, but Ui's already in a lot of trouble. Sinkyu will back off, get some healing, and Kabu's gonna take a Laguna to the dome. That's Lion down. Supernova is gonna get cracked very quickly by the Newbee side. That's gonna be 2 suicides from Tong Fu. Here comes U9. How baller does he feel right now? It seems like he feels pretty good about this one. Sonic Wave will only pick off the Rubik. Dire's Courier also getting sniped in the process. U9 wants a little bit more. LSA gonna connect. Shards are there. U9, yeah, that was kind of suicidal, honestly. Courier is nice as a bonus, but yeah, trading Queen of Pain for Rubik, not a good trade.
No, that was really awkward coming out from Tong Fu. The Slark didn't commit fully for that Bloodseeker, is forced to pop the ultimate and run away since he was inside the Silent Circle. And then the supports get picked off, and then the Queen of Pain joins. If all of that happens at the same time, and everybody goes in simultaneously, that's a really good fight for Tong Fu, but going in one by one is going to be punished. Still, Zinky is farming very well, and he has enough gold for the Blink as we speak if he wants to go for that.
Alright, so Slark 301 is able to get out of there scot-free, but now the Lina is actually going to start to kick into gear. She's 302 at the moment, and she's going to start building towards her Yules. the more this Lina roams, the better it's going to be for Newbee.Y. And that's pretty much just a rule that's going to happen all the time. But especially when your Lina is ahead, you want her to get your team further ahead. It's still possible, however, for the Slark just insta-gib her. Like, Slark at this point, level 9 with the Blink Dagger, is working with a cannon. And Newbee.Y do not know just yet that this Blink Dagger is picked up. Rubik might be the first one to find out. Shinkyu is going to teleport in, jump forward, pounce, will completely miss. He will pact out the Levitate, but he's still in the Shadow Dance, going to try to go for melee levers, doing quite a bit of damage, not quite enough, as Phoenix does fly over everyone. Everyone will back off in the end, however, the Snowball's going to connect onto Shinkyu. He's caught right now, ruptured, he's going to pounce, that will bleed him out. That's going to be a kill on the Slark, as Newbee.Y reinforced very, very well.
That was a bit of an awkward dive coming out from Miss Slark. He just wanted the easy kill, but missing the pounce first is going to put him in a really bad spot. Now Kabu going to be dropped so very low, and he's walled inside these trees. That's a Light Strike array to connect, and Kabu, although he does have stick charges, is not looking too comfortable. The lift up U9, the follow-up disable isn't there. Not the cooldown, nor the mana for the Lina to use the Light Strike array again.
Alright, so Kabu somehow going to survive throughout all that. Even with the Tranquils, should be able to regenerate himself to a comfortable amount of HP. If Tongfu had a Sonic Wave and or a Supernova there, then things would definitely look a lot different. But yeah, simply not having those ultimates making it a lot more difficult to fight. X-Bingo not in the area either. He needs some farm. He has the urn. He's going to be starting his Blade Mail build, it seems. But crucially, he was missing his hookshot. And now that he does have it, he is now a little bit more active, or he's enabled to be active in this game. Would like a couple more levels, perhaps, to get a little bit more battery assaults for him, or rocket flare. Honestly, anything, any levels that he can get is great. But X-Bingo was not in that fight either. So Newbee.Y bringing in the cavalry, whereas for Tongfu, they kind of just thought they could get away with a Slark play, a little bit greedy Slark play, and they got punished for it. So Newbee.Y, if they keep reinforcing like this, man, then this Lina pick is going to provide so much for them, and even Bloodseeker will be able to recover.
Lina now has a completed Yule. She was flying at the Staff of Wizardry when the courier was sniped by the Sonic Wave coming out from the Queen of Pain. But it doesn't seem like that's going to delay the pickup all that much. Up in top lane, Zinky's going to use the Pact, and Piao is there. But we'll just farm up the creeps. That's pretty much the state of this game. After a couple of unfortunate dives coming out from Tongfu, the game is almost equalized when it comes to the lead that Tongfu once had from the early laning stage. Smoke up by X-Bingo as well as LPC with Hookshot and Supernova. This is a very potent combination. Queen of Pain's coming in from the south. They'll catch Iwi. Hookshot's going to be there. Battery Assault and Cogs will lock him in place. Now Light Strike Array going to be thrown onto X-Bingo, and Sonic Wave will clip onto everything. Both the Lina and Bloodseeker down. The TP into the tower is going to be cancelled by the Rubik, but Tusk is now isolated away from the rest of his team. Will snowball into Zinky, and now pounce over the top. I think that snowball is going for the Slark. Zinky's now in a corner with melee lovers. Will eat the Walrus Punch, but there's nowhere to run for that Tusk. 3 unanswered kills by Tongfu.
The difference between a fight with and without Sonic Wave and Supernova is so tangible. Like, Sonic Wave destroyed the Lina's health pool, and yes, she is working with a lot of damage. The Yule Scepter, her survivability tool, if that is not used at the correct time, at the perfect time, then she's still a very soft hero as far as her raw health pool is concerned. So Tongfu get the initiation on their own terms, they get the follow-up on their own terms, and they keep the clockwork alive for all said and done. With a couple urn charges, he'll be back up to full. Zinky gonna blink away mid-rupture cast from Iwi. And it looks like everyone should be walking out of here safe and sound. While that was happening, Kabu, well, he's on the bottom lane trying to get a little bit of golden experience for himself. Newbee.Y can't afford fights like that. They really have to try to dodge his clockwork, get some vision up to see him coming, and well, eventually Tongfu are going to run out of smokes, but Newbee.Y, they've been keeping up decent vision. It just seems like one smoke gank, and that's going to bust things wide open. They're going to smoke gank now going towards the mid lane as Lina and Tusk are looking potentially for U9. But this is a difficult kill to take if U9 sees it coming. Blink out, not in time, gets Walrus Punch, LSA, combo is there. That'll blow up the Queen of Pain. However, now melee love is caught in the Cogs along with X-Bingo. This Clockwork's gonna get shoved out. Here comes the Slark, here comes the Phoenix. Icarus dive over everyone. Bingo's gonna get dropped. Piao awkwardly in the corner right now. Finger of Death will drop her very low. Zinky stunned even though he's shadow dancing. Will get out of that silent circle. Will be fine. It seems, unless shards connect, it will connect. He's ruptured. Now he's gonna die in one hit. Rubik grabbed. How did Rubik grab that one? That was a little bit weird. I didn't see that one. I saw the Dragon Slave, but yeah, Rubik's gonna take it. And Tongfu, without the Sonic Wave, without the Supernova, simply can't take a great fight.
Yeah, I think Tongfu right now, they're on a very tempo-based game. They kind of need to just wait until all of those big ultimates are up, and then they go for that big fight. And then they kind of back off, farm up a bit, but things are looking pretty good for Newbee after that engagement. Another very topsy-turvy game. The advantage from either team has never peaked more than 3,000, and we're almost zeroed out as Newbee.Y take a good engagement and experience pretty much the same chart there. The cogs coming out from the Rubik in that last fight were pretty darn good. It bounces back the Slark and makes it so he's not able to stick onto the target when he wants to. And that does change things quite a bit for Tong Fu's fight when they don't have these big ultimates. But now that Sonic Wave is up again, they have Supernova off of cooldown as well. I think they can look for an engagement even after losing a couple.
They're going to try to go for this Rubik down towards bottom. However, Cogs will keep the Rubik safe for right now. They're instead going to settle for the Lina, who actually is going to pick off the line beforehand. Dual Scepter going to keep her safe for a couple seconds, but it won't keep her safe permanently. Sonic Wave will fly through, connected to Melee Lovers as well. That's a potential second kill if they dive in, if they want to. Melee Lover is going to put himself in Snowball, and here comes the Bloodseeker. Supernova is there. Where's the backup? X-Bingo is going to provide a little bit of help, and it seems like they just can't kill off this egg. In fact, Uwe is going to die to the Phoenix first. Now off to the sideline, Shinkyu will find that Rubik kill that he was searching for previous. And with the Supernova and Sonic Wave, man, they get 3 kills. Yeah, it's so easy to see what's happening right now. And Newbee, they have now an opening where they can make some sort of retaliation play. Tong Fu, if they get back on the correct tempo, if they get this Aghanim Scepter completed on the Queen of Pain, if they play around this Phoenix ultimate cooldown, they'll be in a much better position. But it's up to Newbee to really find opportunities where the power of Tong Fu is not there and try to abuse that.
Yeah, they're going to have their Laguna Blade up, and hey, look at that. There's going to be a smoke from the Tuska and the Lina. If they can catch this Slark out while he's farming inside the woods, that would be wonderful for him. The Slark may or may not know that he's been spotted, but since he was taking damage throughout all of that, I'm not sure if he knows 100%. They'll be looking to catch him as he's farming up this large camp, and, well, let's see if they're going to succeed. They'll lead with Melody Lovers. If they land a snowball onto him, I think that's pretty much just a death, and they might not even need that. Zinkyu's so low. He's going to blink out and fade into the shadows. The smoke is going to pop. He's going to walk around the corner. Snowball's going to fly, and the pounce is a little bit off the mark. Zinkyu trying to run away. The Ice Shot's going to be off the mark. The Ice Stroke Array also going to miss, and he'll be able to blink TP out.
It's very close from the Slark, but narrowly dodging death is a survival in the end. And a smoke wasted by the Newbee side. You gotta go for those. There's no situation where you don't try to go for that Slark kill, but he is such a slippery hero. If you botch your stun combo just a little bit, if you can't find vision, if he gets fogged for even a second, then you're not going to get that kill. So it's a very delicate situation, but now Tong Fu have completed up this Aghanim Scepter on Queen of Pain, so that's on a super low cooldown. Shinkyu's not farming as great as he really started this game out with, but still, he has the point booster. Should be looking for an Eye of Scotty down the line, as Tong Fu are going to smoke up themselves. They have Lion leading the charge, no Blink Dagger on him just yet, but if they find anyone, a hook shot into just the damage follow-up should be enough to instantly get a kill, especially if it's on this Lina. Yule Scepter will save her for a couple of seconds, but it will not save her permanently. She'll buy out in the secret shop, that point booster, and now it's going to be Melody Lovers to find this smoke. The hook shot's actually going to completely whiff, and now the snowball onto X-Bingo is going to commence. Sonic Wave, they're kind of lining up for it, but Queen of Pain actually decides to leave. Phoenix going to dive across everyone. Supernova is there, but this time it's going to be focused down by everyone. They'll lose 2 immediately. Sonic Wave finally going to come through. Gonna get them a couple kills, and now she's gonna lift up into the air. Here comes Q instantly into a spike, however, stolen by Mur. Still gonna get the kill on Piao, regardless of that fact. They get the cog pushback onto SC as Q is gonna go ham. Clockwork actually gets the kill on the Rubik with that Urn Charge. Now Q trying to dive away from that Desolator TA is gonna be spotted by the Sigil. However, he has a blink out. Now getting a little bit of regen, has a TP, he'll be just fine. It's a 4 for 4 after all is said and done. A messy fight, however, from Tong Fu with the Slark arriving late and the Queen of Pain not throwing out the Sonic Wave when she had the chance.
A well-executed fight from the Queen of Pain especially. Even though she was ruptured, she was able to get further than the distance threshold, so the rupture didn't damage her when she blinked out. So she was able to join that fight again, but it was an absolute bloodbath. The Sonic Wave is now a lot more reliable for Tong Fu since Aghanim Scepter is online. That helps quite a bit. But the real victor is the Slark. Since he survives throughout all of that, Zinkyu is now up to 3,000 gold on top of his point booster and is going to be very close to his Scotty. He'll probably have that in 2 minutes tops.
It's quite a bit of gold for both sides, honestly, especially this TA who is Desolator. I just did not see this one coming. SC has been kind of quietly in the background, hasn't had a spectacular score, but she's been clearing out Ancients. She's been working away with not a ton of deaths, so between this Desolator and now the Meld, they're going to try to clear out this Roshan. Tong Fu definitely know about this. Will they actually make a play? Oh, there's a Silent Circle. Bingo's going to jump right in, catching 2 of the cogs. Roshan outside of those cogs. Do they have enough damage? Sonic Wave will kill off those 2. Aegis on the ground and will be grabbed by U9. Killed by the Radiant, picked up by the Radiant. They also do
Xingqiu
see Iwi right now, who has a TP, will have to use it. And Kabu, he has a spike, he has a Hex, he will miss the spike. And Hex was also, well, okay, maybe not. That's not going to happen. That was a little bit awkward there, but still, they lose the Slark in the meantime to something. I'm not sure what happened to the Slark, but they grabbed the Roshan and the Aegis and 2 kills.
Yeah. What happened to the Slark? He just walked up into the Lina, gets Light Strike Array, Dragon Slave, Laguna Blade, and then Rubik's there for the follow-up flip. So it was a pretty straightforward kill there, but it was also close. If Slark has his finish, Scotty, he's not going to die to that in the upcoming fights. It's still good for Tong Fu. They'll get a tier 1 tower immediately after that trade, and the Aegis on the Queen of Pain is terrifying, and it wasn't even an Aegis snatch. They got the Roshan kill too. A lot of golden experience for the team.
And they're looking perhaps for a little bit more. Lion steps over a Psionic Trap, so he is now revealed. There's no observers for the Dire in the area, but they do know that something's going on down here. Will Melolevers still play aggressively? He will. He's going to get hexed. There's a Sonic Wave available. They'll throw it immediately with the Finger of Death. Bye-bye, Tusk. And Mur, he instantly teleported in, is going to jack the Finger. That's a nice one to have, but it's a little bit too late to be relevant, at least right now.
Well, it's going to be a nice pickup for Tong Fu. I don't think it changes the state of the game that much. Xingqiu, after that death, is going to get his Scotty delayed a little bit, but will continue farming it. Even though Desolator's a nice item to have on Templar Assassin, she's still not farming as quickly as the Queen of Pain and Slark. They're still sitting on a pretty hefty advantage when it comes to raw net worth, and overall across the map, it's a 4,000 net worth lead for Tong Fu, and a slight experience lead too.
Alright, they're sitting pretty. As soon as they complete the Side Scotty on Slark, then just his raw HP pool will help him make slightly more aggressive plays. They still have this Aegis on Queen of Pain. Not a ton of mana on her, so she will have to back off for a little while longer. Actually going to grab a Eul's Scepter. There are some effects that you can get out of the, what's it called? The Silent Circle from the Bloodseeker, the Blood Rite. Something that you do have to be careful of. And also as a counter tool to the Lina's Eul's Scepter, yeah, the Queen of Pain is, we're going to be getting an item that has some usages, but not really the most common item we see on this hero.
Rubik does have a stolen Finger of Death, so that might be super relevant in the next fight for blowing up the Slark in particular, with the Laguna Blade and the Finger combination. Lina is almost sitting on her Aghanim Scepter, so this is a window of opportunity that maybe Newbee Youth can hit pretty hard.
It seems like they wanted to smoke, but they're going to clear out some observers first, make sure they have security. If they should do so, they don't have smoke. Okay, they're just grouping up, and now they're all spotted by a rocket flare. That's a little bit awkward. Yet still, now the Slark has his Eye of Scotty looking for Piao. Not going to find that kill. They're getting LPC a little bit of extra farm up towards top. This Phoenix has gone for a Plate Mail straight. Not going to go for any sort of Midas, which is a little bit weird. Usually, like 9 times out of 10, usually, it's going to be a Midas on the Phoenix. But if he gets a quick Shiva's Guard, physical damage is a good portion of Newbee's damage output. Lina has now Pure, or soon to be Pure, but she's going to get hook shot immediately and bumped back by the Cogs. Blown up before she can do a single thing, and that's going to be a quick and easy kill. However, a quick and easy kill I can only assume happened on the bottom lane. Was there a Finger of Death towards the Lion? There wasn't even that.
And with that Lina down, it's going to be very safe for them to go for this tier 2 tower inside the mid lane. They have a blink on their Templar Assassin, that's nice and all, but whenever these ultimates are up for Tong Fu, and since Queen of Pain has Aghanim Scepter, that's going to be up in just 15 seconds or so. They can fight so very convincingly right now. The Bloodseeker isn't at a point where he's super relevant. He has Midas, Blade Mail, Power Treads. These are nice items to have on a Bloodseeker, don't get me wrong, but it's not enough when his net worth looks about the same as the Clockworks.
This is a safe lane Bloodseeker. Like, it's, of course, in quotation marks, because that lane was far from safe. But he hasn't really been able to get a ton of farm going elsewhere. He's been getting picked off pretty consistently. He has the Hand of Midas working for him, and that is at least a good thing for him, but still not completely safe. He will look towards a BKB, it seems like, with that Ogre Club. Could just be an SNY as he gets the Rupture onto U9. Instant blink out. This Queen of Pain still has an Aegis. And looks like that Rupture is just going to be wasted. A little bit of a warning shot perhaps for that Quap, but the rest of the Tong Fu heroes, they're kind of nearby, with the exception being Kabu. Xingqiu is in the area, Clockwork for the initiation with the hook shot into Force Staff. They see Piao, they grab onto her, blink forward from U9, Sonic Wave onto 3, but not onto Piao. Now Xpingo's in an awkward position right now. They're going to jump forward looking for Piao. Xingqiu will fall short there. Now Yule's up. We'll have to get some help here. LSA combo not going to do Xingqiu in. There's no Laguna Blade thrown just yet. Rocket Flare not going to kill off the Lina either, so no one's actually going to die there. I thought for sure someone was going to die.
And just a lot of traded cooldowns. The difference is that Tong Fu are in a much better position to go for something after that, as Newbee.Y are forced to get some healing inside their base. Tier 2 tower top's going to take a lot of heat in the meantime. Although probably not outright taken, especially since the Aegis has expired on the Queen of Pain. It's still going to be dropped low, and they're going to need to contest it now. They're smoked up. They're going to Blood Rage to Lina. This Aghanim Scepter ultimate is going to sting on whoever they land that onto, and it looks like it's going to be Zinky. Blink Lift going to pull him back into the Light Strike Array, and they don't even need the Laguna Bait for it. They'll get the Sonic Wave over 3. That's pretty darn good. Now the Templar Assassin's going to chase forward for U9. U9 has another Blink cooling down in 1 second. Will the damage be there? It will. Because she screams the Blade Mail, and with that Death Slayer, Templar Assassin's dishing, and now the Phoenix Egg is going to be focused down. Melody Lover's PL will survive for a little while longer. Zex Bingo is standing against the world, and there's your Laguna finally coming out. It's a full 5-man wipe in favor of Newbee.Y.
I have no idea why Tong Fu... I mean, they lost the Queen of Pain and the Slark. I think those were casualties that were maybe avoidable if you just retreat, but for the most part, there wasn't anything you could do about that. Going in there after the Slark dies, like with the Clockwork, with the Lion, with the Phoenix, they all died really close to one another. They shouldn't have gone in there. Like, what are you gonna like 3v5 without your Slark and Queen of Pain? That's just not gonna happen. So Newbee.Y kind of get 3 bonus kills after the 2 that they kind of had to work a little bit harder for. So Tong Fu definitely feeling like they're a lot further ahead than they really are. In fact, now the golden experience technically in favor of Newbee.Y. Still, it's not totally over for either end, but Tong Fu, if they make those type of honestly like foolish plays by going in 1 at a time or like in groups of 2 and 3 into a group of 5, there's no chance that they're going to take this. They have to actually move as a team and use the Supernova with the Sonic Wave, with the Finger of Death, and try to get burst damage on the board.
And suddenly the Bloodseeker's looking a lot more like a safe lane farmer. He almost has his completed Black King Barn. Once he has that, his life inside these fights is going to get a lot easier. It's not 100% safe for him, because you do have a Sonic Wave on the Queen of Pain, a good amount of physical damage from the Slark, but it's a whole lot easier. So Iwi's going to be a very potent threat in the next couple of engagements, where before you really couldn't say that about him. Blink Dagger coming out from Lion is a big pickup for Tong Fu, but that's still quite a far ways away, as Kabu has been dying in a lot of these exchanges and hasn't found that much room across the map. It's not a safe game to be the Lion. Ooh, Flare going to fly right over where they smoke, but not going to spot them out. This is a really good time for Tong Fu. Let's see. They're going to lead with Kabu. They're going to bump the Templar Assassin. She'll be able to blink out towards the right, and the hookshot misses. Zex Bingo 4-staff in with the Battery Assault. He has no detection, although he will be able to bounce back the TA. That doesn't matter. The fight breaking out. Not actually going to be any solid initiation coming out from either side, and it seems that Newbee.Y have dodged the bullet.
Yeah, that would have been a bullet that hurts as well. Losing their Templar Assassin represents a good portion, not the majority of it just yet, but still a high amount of their damage output. If they lose the TA, I don't really see them being able to take a follow-up fight, so Tong Fu can go then for an objective, a tier 2 tower, something like that. Fortunately for the TA, she's quick with her fingers, also had the Invis rune. Maybe if it's another rune, she wouldn't have survived that, but Tong Fu smoke up with pretty much everyone completely hidden, yet not going to give them any benefit. If they do get that kill, high chance that Kabu is able to pick up his Blink Dagger a little bit earlier, and then with the Blink Hex, Blink Spike, maybe we'll be able to take a much better fight down the line, as Roshan is going to be respawning in, well, not the shortest amount of time, so both sides are going to be looking to set up for that, as that involves, of course, just shoving the waves. That's where the Clockwork Flare is going to be great, but at the same time, that's where Rubik's Stolen Flare is going to be just as great.
Interesting pickup from the Slark. Shadowblade's a great item to have on your Slark, but usually you don't see it after picking up the Blink. What are your thoughts?
It's, I think, kind of redundant. Like, you already have the way of getting in. You have already an Eye of Scotty, and Shadowblade, just as an item, gets better the earlier you pick it up, since you could kind of snowball with it. Is there anything that's worth breaking on the enemy side? Is there like Silver Edge potential here? Kind of with the Bloodseeker. I don't think this is necessarily worth it. I would have liked to see him get something that is maybe just a little bit more in the survivability department, like the direct survivability department, so we could maybe stand toe-to-toe with this Bloodseeker and TA.
Or if not direct survivability, I think the item that I'd like to see is Assault Cuirass. Even though it's not a super common pickup for Slarks, it's very good this game. You need armor to survive against the Templar Assassin's right clicks, and yeah, I'm a little bit torn. It's gonna delay his impact for a little while longer till he gets to those big ticket items.
And Silver Edge is always gonna be decent. Nothing huge here, like no Bristleback on the other end, but you always get some value out of the item. I still think probably Assault Cuirass to deal with the physical damage is probably going to be slightly better, but who knows right now. We do have SC running into the Queen of Pain. Looks like both heroes will disengage pretty cleanly. There's a double damage rune here. If Slark grabs that one, that spells doom for Newbee.Y. Similarly, if TA grabs it, not much that Tong Fu can do about that, but top lane is being pushed rather aggressively, and Roshan just not cooperating with Tong Fu. They have to back up and try to tend to their side lanes. Newbee.Y kind of managing their lanes a little bit better than Tong Fu at the moment. It's not going to be relevant because Roshan is not going to be responding just yet, but if anyone gets picked off here, that's a really, really bad thing. In line with the fresh Blink Dagger, represents a pretty easy pick off on whoever is out of position.
Right now, there is nobody that's at immediate threat, but it looks like Tong Fu want to go for a push down in bottom lane. The Slark is going to farm up mid before joining the fray, but Xingqiu can get there fast enough to where they could fight in full force. Blink away by the Templar Assassin. At the same time, the line blinks forward, and TA will survive.
TA is still the only one holding this tier 1 tower. If Newbee.Y really wanted to, they could just commit U9 right in the front lines and just have her start wailing on it. We do have Slark now with his invis on the hunt, not detected right now. In fact, I don't even know if Newbee.Y know if there's a Shadow Blade on the other end. They're going to go straight for Mer. Rubik in a little bit of trouble right now. Shadow Dance is there, and this Rubik can't get a single response out. Off to the side, it's also going to be initiation onto Melody Lovers. He's hit with a Solar Beam. Finger of Death is there as well as Sonic Wave. That's a very dead Tusk. And Newbee.Y lose 2 immediately before having any sort of response, and now Roshan is alive. It will be spotted out by these psionic traps, but with 2 heroes down, I don't know if Newbee can contest.
Yeah, they might be able to blow up 1 or 2 of these heroes on the back lines, but going for a full contention is very difficult with the double damage rune on the Queen of Pain especially. Although she's not in the pit right now. Let's just wait and see. Templar Assassin and Lina are coming in. They'll get vision in the pit with the Blood Right, and everybody's going to be forced to back off for a little while longer. Roshan at about half health. Newbee.Y, this is a very dangerous fight to go in for, but maybe it works out for them. They have perfect vision. Oh, up towards the north. They catch up Piao, and any hopes of contesting this Roshan are pretty much away.
Even if Templar Assassin wants to go in with that Blink Dagger, it's probably not a good idea at this point. Blink Dagger on Kavu, man, that is such a big pickup. Before he actually picked that one up, if Lina was going to walk in there, she would be able to actually cast some spells. But an instant Blink Hex, and there's not much you can do about that as Lina, like, it's just impossible. Hex comes out way too quickly, so Newbee.Y, they do end up losing the Lina on top of that Roshan. It is now a Slark walking around with a double life, so he could just go in on really whoever he wants to, ideally getting on top of the Bloodseeker TA or the Lina, although BKB and Eul Scepter and Lina making her a difficult target. This Slark is going to be difficult for Newbee.Y to manage for the upcoming minutes, unless Slark makes a super aggressive play by going in way too deep without the rest of his team and ends up dying twice, which currently he may actually run into that problem. Well, he's not going to go in that deep.
Just farm for the any woods, and it looks like Tong Fu want to set up for a top push. The tier 2 tower there is so very low already that it's pretty much free money for the taking.
Slark getting some sentry support, going to kill some psionic traps. Shadow Dance value for sure. It seems like for Tong Fu, yeah, they're gonna look for an angle to smoke up. At least they kind of want to at X-Bingo and Kabu. And they, I think, did see Piao with that flare. I'm not sure if that was in vision range. It probably was, albeit barely. So Piao should know that he's spotted out right now. A Blink Hex has clearly been shown to kill off Alina. And it seems like Xingqiu, with his Blink Dagger, with his Aegis Immortal, keep him safe. He'll just go straight for the tower. She was finally completed on the Phoenix. It took him long enough. 30 minutes, Phoenix, rushing the Shivas, that's pretty slow.
The good news for Newbee.Y is that they have 10-second BKBs on the Lina, Bloodseeker, and Templar Assassin. So these heroes are going to be very difficult to convincingly bring down, and if Tong Fu do get over-aggressive and dive into the base, the potential for turnaround is there, but they won't be able to protect their outer tier towers, and for now, Tong Fu are going to calm down and just farm up a little while longer. If they can find a pickoff, going high ground becomes a lot easier.
They clearly have enough damage to get those pickoffs. They don't see anyone right now. In fact, the rest of the Newbee side, they're looking towards Queen of Pain, perhaps. No great way of getting in. Do they have Blink Dagger Rubik? Oh, yeah, they do. Blink Dagger Force Staff, Telekinesis. That's a decent way of initiating. It's pretty good, and they're going to steal something, Blink. So Rubik now is double Blink. That's...
Oh, Lion, Kabu.
He'll be fine. Nobody panic. Ooh, and BKB forced out. That's 10 seconds down the tubes and 75 seconds on cooldown.
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal. That was really just an awkward jump. Templar Assassin wasn't able to blow up the line instantly and got cold feet, even though she did pop the Black King bar, so that's a little bit of an opportunity for Tong Fu. I'm not sure if it's enough for them to feel comfortable going for a straight high ground push, but it's something that they didn't trade for anything, really. A little bit of mana spent on the Phoenix.
And with the Shiva's Guard, I'm sure he won't mind too much. The bottom lane tier 2 is still standing, although it seems like that's not going to be the case for much longer. Newbee.Y, they probably can take a fight in theory around this tower, but with an Aegis still up on the Slark, there's really no reason to push it. Maybe Tong Fu are not going to go straight up for that tower, actually. They're going to smoke up. That was not spotted by anyone, and they have 2 targets in the mid lane. Both these targets have BKBs still available, but unless they go straight to their base right now, one will. The other one will not. U9's smoke is going to be revealed, but no one actually saw that, I don't think. Yao, he's going to try to be out, but a Yule Scepter will interrupt it. And now the Lina is very much so in trouble. Sonic Wave will connect. She Yules herself a little bit too late. She lands BKBs, looking for someone, but with the right clicks, they will just take her down. That's Lina down for free, and it's now opening the door for a high ground push, although I'm still not sure if they're completely comfortable going for it.
Lina has no buyback. She's down for a full minute. TP 10 by Tempo Assassin. Yule Scepter. Gonna be cast on the Queen of Pain. Just a little too late in coming. If she went for the Blink Yules, that might have worked out for her.
Well, it's still just a kill on the Lina. You know, you can't get too greedy with these things, and Lina, Queen of Pain rather, off of that kill does complete her Octarine core. So the Sonic Wave now on an obnoxiously low 30-second cooldown. She's just throwing that out whenever she wants to. Farm a Creep Wave, miss it completely because why not? You have the Yule Scepter mana regen. Now she has a gem as well, being handed to her by, I believe, the Phoenix. So yeah, this Queen of Pain is going to do quite a bit of damage in these fights. And if the fight lasts for 30 seconds, and there's a very high chance that it does, then Sonic Wave twice, man, that gets really ridiculous. They're going to actually see the Bloodseeker. He's going to Shadow Blade out. Is there any True Sight? He's going to pop the BKB and just leave. And they have nothing to interrupt that. Slark does not have an MKB or a Basher. Not yet.
Yeah, MKB wouldn't even cut it. It's going to be another BKB forced out, though. Newbee.Y are starting to use these Black King bars in situations that are purely defensive, and that's not really what they want to be doing with them. And although they're still at reasonable durations, I think it's 9 seconds on all 3 of them, it's not necessarily going to be enough. They're going to group up, look for a dewarding mission as a team, and we'll get a little bit of farm. They have successfully waited out the Aegis, so there isn't a second life up and running for Tong Fu anymore, but they're still very scary inside these fights, and perhaps even scarier is the fact that Newbee.Y have only buyback on the TA.
And if they lose anyone else aside from that hero with buyback, then the Raxes are going to be pushed. Not incredibly quickly, but fast enough to make things difficult for Newbee.Y to actually respond to. Tong Fu, they know that if they get into a full 5-on-5 clash, well, they may be able to win, granted, but they really just don't want to be risking that. Get the pick off first on honestly anyone that they could find, but Newbee.Y, they are, well, I think you could call this defensively positioned. They're very close to one another and actually have a line drawn, looking for a wraparound. They may run into a Slark, and that's really bad news because this Slark just found the magic blue rune.
Well, with the double damage rune, this Slark is a major threat. 10-second BKB means the Slark shouldn't end up dying. I don't think, and probably would take at least 1 or 2 with him if he does go down eventually, and that's with no backup, and that's not really realistic. I think we're going to wait for the next Roshan, or until a couple of heroes get picked off until the major next fight, but yeah, here's your starting to pick off the blink in. They get the lift on Xingqiu. DD or not, they're going to blow him up with the Laguna Blade. My goodness, chewing on my words a bit, but still really good for Newbee.Y.
That Slark didn't stand a freaking chance there. This is a pretty tanky Slark, all things considered, but having a level 3 Laguna Blade being thrown towards any hero, not fun times. Now Newbee.Y, they're on the ones on the aggressive. Slark does have a buyback, so not in any danger of losing Raxes right now, Tong Fu, but still, this tier 2 tower is not really defendable and should not be something that they really look to defend. The blinking initiation from Rubik is just too threatening. Otherwise, yeah, they could kind of poke away with Sonic Wave and then the Creep Wave and whatnot, but yeah, the threat of just being lifted up and instantly killed off is certainly there, so the Sigil even going to be distracting the Creep Wave. Cute plays from the Newbee.Y side, but this tower is doomed to fall. Slark up in 35 seconds. I don't think Tong Fu can really make anything happen here. They're going to get a good read. Mergs is going to jump forward, looking for telekinesis, won't find it.
And with that, Newbee.Y should back off. They're getting their mid lane pushed in by creeps, and they'll just back off and farm that up for their team. But now you have a Daedalus on this Templar Assassin, and the way the Bloodseeker's been using his Blood Rage, more often than not, it's been on the TA and the Lina inside these fights. It's a scary amount of DPS. If Templar Assassin gets a crit, it's not impossible that we see Lion just get one shot if she has the Blood Rage.
Now, I'm not biased. I don't really care who wins here, but I love seeing heroes get one shot. It just makes me happy. I don't know if that makes me a bad person or not.
I don't think so. It's always satisfying whenever you one-shot somebody, even if it's not the right move to use. As the Lina when you're level 16, one-shotting the supports is always a bit of fun. And right now, Lion is in that instant kill threshold.
One-shotting heroes and killing off an entire creep wave with one spell, or one hit. That's the good stuff, man. Can't get enough of that. They're looking for Roshan right now. It's going to be a much shorter Roshan respawn than last time, but it's also going to be a much more interesting Roshan, since both sides should be able to actually fully contest it. Unless Tongfu gets some sort of miracle pickoff right now, which doesn't seem likely, it should be a full clash around Roshan, or around this 2 tower, which therefore leads to Roshan. Slark is lagging behind the rest of his team, however, so if they get into a fight right now, Slark will not be able to reinforce U9. Maybe just looking for a Sonic Wave to start things out, just as a little bit of chip damage, a little bit of softening. There's Kabu ruptured and blown up by the Blood Silent Circle. Bloodright gonna snag a kill, and that means that everyone else from Tongfu has to leave. No more initiation from this Lion, no more chance for a fight. LPC is gonna fly away off the map. We will TP back to the base.
I don't think that pickoff changes very much of anything. The Roshan is up, and well, they're dropping it very low, so maybe I spoke too soon. Tongfu don't look interested in contesting it, so they're going to concede Roshan to Newbee.Y, and that's the second life for the Templar Assassin. That's actually bigger than I thought.
Yeah, the Lion not being up is already going to make Tongfu's fight a lot weaker, but also Newbee.Y know that Tongfu had to have teleported away with at least one of those heroes. I don't think they saw anyone TP away, but I mean, obviously someone's going to TP away from that situation, so that means they TP out, they can't get right into the Roche Pit, and with the amount of physical damage they have from this Templar Assassin, the Daedalus, and the Meld, and the Desolator, and not to mention the Bloodseeker as well, yeah, the Roshan didn't really stand much of a chance. This is Aegis going towards the newbie side. Cheese also picked up on Piao, and Tongfu, they are in a rough position right now. They are still working with a hell of a lot of burst. They just can't really find those openings. Newbee are right now playing kind of cautiously, and it's working out very well for them.
Mysterious.
Yeah, it seems like they're delaying this out nicely. They have a double damage run on this Templar Assassin. Amount of damage is not even funny at this point, but oh, inside the Dire Woods, Melody Lovers is going to jump by this Slark. Hookshot in, going to catch on to Kabu. They'll try to lock down this Lina. It looks like they'll succeed. Finger of Death will be dropped, bounced back by the Cogs. That's an important pickup for Tongfu, even though there is a second life in this Templar Assassin. Yule Scepter will catch out the Rubik in mid. The follow-up isn't there immediately. Zinkyu's going to dive under the tier 3s, but with Ghost Scepter, is Rubik surviving for a little bit longer than he rightfully should. Now with this Ghost Scepter expiring, looks like he's going to go down. Snowball over to the back lines. Kabu is going to get stunned, but now Melody Lovers is spitting off way more than he can chew. The Tusk will die. Rubik fighting the regen coming out from the urn with his Tranquil Boots in the fountain is going to survive, but they also lose the Slark and all of that. I don't really know how you should call that one. It's a successful defense from Newbee.Y.
Yeah, the Slark dying is just so bad for Tongfu. Now that they lack their, well, I guess, secondary or even tertiary initiator, they can't actually start any fights that'll definitely go their way, and Newbee.Y still have the Bloodseeker and Templar Assassin still alive. TA just wrecked that Slark's day. Like, this Slark has quite a bit of armor, he has quite a bit of health, but in 1 versus 1 man fight, if those bashes don't come out in time, if he doesn't have a lot of essence shift stacks beforehand, he's just not going to be able to stand up to this Templar Assassin's damage. So Newbee.Y, they get away with an okay trade at this stage, and they're going to continue holding their base right now. The cheese was not consumed by the Lina. I don't think she actually had a chance to use that for even a second. She was perma-stunned. And they still have the Aegis on the Templar Assassin, so Tongfu will back off for at least another 20 seconds, and we'll try to get just a little bit more farm. This Lion is level 13 with only level 1 Finger of Death. Kabu clearly wants to go for the disabling initiator route, and if he can land a Blink Hex, man, it still represents a pretty free kill.
I'm not sure if I'm entirely sold on getting all of the points in Mana Drain and not maxing out Finger of Death as soon as you get it. The cooldown is very significant, but yeah, he's mostly just there for the Ura Spike and the Hex at this point. Finger of Death's damage, although good, isn't enough to instantly give heroes anymore.
Oh, looks like Newbee.Y, they're going to be on the aggressive. U9 in a little bit of trouble. Oh, if he got Yules there, that could have potentially been his death. This Queen of Pain does not have a BKB, although she can afford it right now. Can she? No, she can't afford it with buyback, so she's going to have to play super cautiously. Newbee.Y, they're the ones on the aggressive. They still have a little more time on this Aegis. This tier 2 tower, at the very least, is going to drop. Shouldn't be fortified, because Newbee should be looking for a high ground push here with this Aegis, in fact. X-Bingo, though, thinking about going in. Blink forward, Hex onto Piao. If they can blow up this Lina, that'll be great. Sonic Wave overthrew onto everyone. Supernova's there. No one's actually attacking it, but they've rid off the Queen of Pain and the Lion, then the Clockwork shortly thereafter. Slark's alive. Phoenix does get his egg off. But with only Slark and Phoenix, Newbee.Y can roll on for a little bit more. Cheese is still up, Aegis is still up, and Tongfu got nothing there.
There's a basher on this Templar Assassin, and that's going to be flying out in the courier. She's going to have a full Abyssal soon. That's terrifying. And, well, with it, they're going to start pushing through the mid lane. The Desolator is going to make quick work of this tier 3 tower. They're forced to buy back with the Queen of Pain. The Templar Assassin still has her Aegis. She's going to be sitting on that for about a minute, so more than enough to go for this high ground push if they want to fully commit. Jump in. There's going to be a telekinesis onto U9. They're going to hit her with the Metal Strike, and she's completely chain stunned. Dieback on the Queen of Pain. And with that, I think that's at least one set of barracks, maybe more. Yule Scepter's going to be self-cast on Lina, not interrupting the Phoenix, but I don't think that matters at all. They'll go for the melee barracks and the range barracks simultaneously, and we'll be able to snag both of them. And now rotate bottom. Slark going to bounce in. Xin-Q is going to get his pound stolen. Forced to ultimate already. The Slark, it doesn't feel like he can do enough here. The Templar Assassin, even if they kill her off once, still has that Aegis.
It seems like this game may be over. I don't know if Tong Fu can hold. Without the Supernova, without the Queen of Pain, SC is going to get some full health restore out of this Aegis soon enough. They jump in towards Piao. They do get the spike onto Piao as well, but there's not enough damage. Finally, Slark jumps in, but Piao still has that cheese. Will consume it. Now just go toe-to-toe with Xin-Q. The Laguna Blade will grab the kill on Slark. Kabu also running away from melee lever. Should not escape that one. Phoenix also going to get picked off in the retreat. That's GG called. And we're going to a game 3, which is pretty good because grand finals are not supposed to be, 2-0 stomps. It's supposed to be going down to the wire. And this game was pretty close. Mistakes on both sides, granted, but it is going to be Newbee.Y to claim this victory. The Templar Assassin damage, the Bloodseeker damage, he got so much time to recover. And, of course, the Lina, man. The Lina held down the fort for so long.
Yeah, that was really the story of the game. Piao was really just the staple player for Newbee.Y throughout the entire game, and the Slark, as soon as he lost momentum, wasn't really able to accomplish much of anything. Even going for those supports inside the fights was very difficult, especially the Rubik with all of the mobility items and the Ghost Scepter, and Tusk just being able to naturally delay with the Snowball. There wasn't clean openings for them as soon as Newbee.Y didn't find initiation.
Alright guys, we're going to a game 3. Right after that, we're going to have an Immortal giveaway, so you want to stick around for all of that. But for right now, it's going to go, going to be a tight series to say the least. I'm Mikelorus. I've been joined by Grandis. We're both tired, but we'll keep on moving forward for this game 3 to see who's actually going to claim the #1 spot in the Douyu Cup, guys. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.